Hi, folks. You're with Tacitus today at your Pushback channel, and thank you for joining this radio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about Western universities, but particularly Australian universities. Now, I've noticed over the last, or some weeks, I suppose, 3 or 4 weeks, how every advert I see, particularly online, promoting universities features exclusively brown and black people. If you do see any white people, they're in far background, and is pretty much all female. So brown and black female, particularly women from the subcontinent, the Middle East, and to a lesser extent Africa, but North Africa definitely, but sub-Saharan Africa not so much. But nonetheless, you're hard pressed to find a single male. You won't find a single white male, and the advert is, we're going to welcome you because there's no white people here. It is thus welcoming, and come here. And the the advertising is such that come here, give us your money, we'll guarantee you a degree. I mean, it's not explicitly said, but if you read between the lines, you're guaranteed a degree by turning up here, whether you know anything at all or not. If you want to come in as a mature student, if you didn't go to college when you're 18 or 19, come in when you're 30, not a problem. And by the way, there's plenty of NGOs and support systems and structures that can help you pay for it and guarantee you work and so on. So it's a siren call to non-white women worldwide. Now, this is Australia, and you can't see a single white person in the advertising in Australian universities, part, if not most of which, are subsidised by the Australian taxpayer. So all this white money, white people's money, is being used. Straight white male money, by the way, is being used to promote education exclusively for non-white women. only a globalist cocksucker could think of this. But anyway, that's the thing. So I'm sort of, what's the goal here? What's the objective? Is it to re-engineer society? Is it that the globalists are leaning on them, saying, hey, the women's education in India and the Middle East and Bangladesh, all these sort of places, Afghanistan is really bad, so, or low, or not as much as men's or anything like. So we have to get all these people in to come to a white country to get a non-meritorious. Everyone gets a participation trophy degree. Are they trying to turn university into an exclusive women's only venue, or maybe a brown and black women only venue? Well, what's the actual objective here? Because it bears no resemblance to any reality. So we can easily say, okay, they're not being driven by reality. Maybe this is aspirational. Maybe they see the future growth of student fees as coming from this sector. But that doesn't seem to sort of stack up, because the countries that these people would come from, most of them are absolutely dirt poor. So that isn't going to be the case. Maybe they're just appealing to the elites in those countries. That's possible. But the elites, with their because there's always rich people even in the poorest countries, they've got a choice of anywhere in the world. So maybe the advertising is to say, well, hey, you better come to Australia to get your education. There's not a single white person in sight here. We've really got rid of all those damn evil white fascist Nazi white people. So you can feel good about coming to an education here. There'll be nothing but brown people everywhere you look. Maybe that's an objective or a plan. I don't know. I mean, the advert looks like it was put together by some teenage girl, 19-year-old gender studies student or something like that. It doesn't appear to be sophisticated. But the point I'm getting at is maybe that's their objective is that's the market they want to appeal to. Therefore, they're doing the advert here, and the advert is a gross misrepresentation of any known reality. But they don't care, because they're just trying to get you to come over and hopefully prepay before you arrive. So once you've paid, you're kind of stuck. So maybe it's just false advertising. They're just trying that on. Maybe it's social engineering. Maybe it's maybe it's to pitching to the parents, well, your daughters can feel safe here because not only are there no white people, there's no men either. It's girls only here. So your daughter's chastity will be safe with us. Maybe there's an element of that. But you can't help thinking that it's more, it's more the part of this wider globalist infiltration of all the institutions, and everything's anti-straight white male these days, or anti-white people. And this crescendo with only white people ever involved in slavery is of course, an outrageous and grotesque untruth. Brown people were involved in slavery for many, many hundreds of years, well before white folks ever showed up in that department. But that never gets talked about. So with all this sort of developing talk about white people have to pay compensation to black people for the slavery, but the Arabs don't have to pay a cent to the black people for slavery, even though they were at it for a long time. Or the Indians that were bringing blacks in as slaves from East Africa, around Zanzibar and along there. I mean, the slave markets there were operating again long, long before white folks ever showed up. So, but none of that seems to be an issue. So maybe it's part of this wider narrative about whites owe everyone else in the world for these imagined, many of them imagined, by the way, misdeeds. So perhaps there's the social engineering side of that, and this idea of crushing white civilization and preferring brown people. I mean, it'd be interesting because once white people are in an absolute minority in the West, all across the West, which is going to happen in every Western country, sometime over the next 25 to 35 years. And we can already see how the geolegal process, the rule of law, everything is breaking down all across the West. I mean, look at the carry on about this Roe versus Wade thing. The federal government, prosecutors, attorneys general are openly saying, I don't like that ruling by the Supreme Court of the United States, so I not only will ignore it, I will defy it. And that's it. So we can see the rule of law, geolegal process, and accountability law is just breaking down all over the West. So we can see a situation where not only has all the law and application of law and jurisprudence generally has broken down, but the majority of people will be non-white who've got no heritage with the rule of law and geolegal process and all that sort of stuff, and free speech and open debate. They come from societies that they have no comprehension of that, and they don't see it as important or even relevant to their day-to-day lives. So those people will be in the majority, and are they going to be the prison guards to keep the white folks in check, make sure Dan Whitey doesn't say something like, I want a free and fair election, or I want accountable government, because that's going to be a crime very, very soon if it isn't already. So I think the black and brown people, and particularly busybody, snot-nosed women from the subcontinent and all that sort of thing, they're going to be the prison guards in 20 years' time. They'll be the moral prison guards, and then and you can sort of see it unfolding on universities today, because they're in effect saying to these peasants from the subcontinent and the like that you're the future, you're the gifted ones, you're the geniuses that are going to make sure that those damn white people behave themselves. I mean, scary times ahead, but what do you make of it? I don't know why the universities could be advertising for business, but it seems to be more of a social engineering thing than not. I look forward to seeing your comments below. You've been with Tassus today at your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.